Now this video is probably going to be one of the most important videos I ever made, so please pay attention. I got a lot of information for you guys and I've literally been up for 5 days straight doing all this research. I'm doing it so you don't have to. If you've been keeping up with my page, then you already know that I believe that the earth is flat, we're enclosed within a dome, and there's other lands beyond the dome. Now I'm going to start this video off by discussing Japan discovering 7,000 new islands. It's the year 2023. How are you just now finding all this uncharted land? It has discovered 7,000 more than it previously thought. Suspicious. Mind you, we are right here in the Earth realm. There's no telling how many more continents or uncharted land is in the Earth realm, not including all the other lands outside of our realm. But that's not what this video is about. In this video, I'm going to be telling you guys about the time period before the Anunnaki and the custodians infiltrated our lands. So as you guys can see, there is an ice wall surrounding us. However, that ice was not always there. The ice wall was placed there using custodian technology. Now this map is called the Piri-Reis map, and it was drawn on gazelle skin in 1513. Scientists agree that it is an accurate depiction of the coastline of Antarctica. Now here comes the crazy part. Antarctica wasn't officially discovered by Europeans until the year 1820. In fact, this map isn't even an original. A handwritten note found with this map explains that it was a compilation of 20 different references, meaning Antarctica was mapped before the year 1513. Who was able to map this so accurately and without the technology that we have today? And as you can see, there's even animals and farming going on, meaning that Antarctica was a fertile land. So we now know that Antarctica didn't always have ice, but also the Arctic, aka the North Pole, also didn't have ice. At one point in time, the Tree of Life was located right here in the center of our realm. This is a visual of the Tree of Life for those of you that have never heard of it. The Tree of Life is even depicted in old maps from the 16th century. For example, this is the Mercator map. As you can see, there is no ice at the North Pole, and the Tree of Life is represented right here by this rock called Rupes nigra, which means black rock. This rock was magnetic, which explains why all compasses point to this location. But you have to understand, it wasn't a black rock always. It once was the Tree of Life, but after it got destroyed, then this was the outcome. The people of the 16th century believed that the North Pole was a magnetic mountain surrounded by a continent divided by 4 powerful rivers. They also stated that there was a whirlpool in the center. Keep that in mind because that is very important for later. In my History is Alive video, I explained to you guys how ancient civilizations built their cities to be surrounded by water, like this, and they did this due to the knowledge they had of different frequencies' effect on water. Using sound, they were able to change the molecular structure of the water, therefore providing positive vibrations for the people in the city, especially when they drank the water. So now you understand why the North Pole was surrounded by water, these rivers. Now I want you to look at this map and remember this part right here. Take a mental photograph. This is our good old friend Walt Disney, and he is looking at an illustration of his vision for Disney World. And what is that in the center you see? I zoomed in. This is an aerial view of Disney World. And at the center of Disney World, we see what looks like the North Pole, the Tree of Life divided by 4 powerful rivers. But this isn't shocking for Walt Disney. We already know that he throws it in our face about the dome that we live in. Not to mention him being BFFs with the creator of NASA, Wernher von Braun. They put the truth in science fiction and feed it off to you like lies, and they put the lies in science and feed it off to you like the truth. Walt Disney knew that the North Pole is where the vortex was located. I'll get more into that later. Now you guys know how our society loves to lie to children and tell them that Santa Claus lives at the North Pole. Oh, and by the way, you should already be aware that Christmas is a pagan holiday. But the concept of Christmas trees actually derives from the North Pole and the Tree of Life. As you guys know, the North Star is located at the North Pole. So the North Star sitting above the Tree of Life is where modern day humans got the idea for Christmas trees. Now I'm sure you guys have all heard of the aurora borealis, aka the northern lights that happens in the North Pole. But I bet what you didn't know is that this is happening because of the Tree of Life. It is the remains of all the spiritual energy left behind from the Tree of Life. Now I have this book right here that discusses what the different aura colors means. And I'm going to let you guys know what the Northern Lights colors mean. So the first color I see up there is green. Green involves healing. It attracts abundance with ease. It is very open to giving and receiving love. Another color I see that's prominent is magenta. And magenta represents the ability to share beauty and creativity with the masses. So as you can tell, the tree of life definitely left behind some strong, powerful energy. And our ancestors used to be able to channel and access this energy. And we all know they tell us the truth in movies. Just like in this show, Raising Dion, where his father and other beings gained supernatural abilities from being exposed to the energy from the aurora borealis. They gained abilities like telekinesis and telepathy. These were abilities our ancestors were able to access due to them being connected to the tree of life. Now here's the part where you got to pay attention. So the tree of life was located at a vortex. We are energetic beings. That's why we are drawn to it. A vortex in spirituality context is believed to be a sacred site in our realm where energy is either entering into our realm or projecting out of our realm. Now, when you look at the inside of a tree, it has numerous rings which resemble a vortex. Not a coincidence. Now, this is the North Star Polaris and it doesn't move. The other stars rotate counterclockwise around it, and as you can see, it also resembles a vortex. The main vortex of energy in humans are called chakras, which are many personal vortexes in the human body and basically energy centers that power our life force. Now, imagine how spiritually advanced and aligned our ancestors were, living in a hot spot of energy that can produce healing and create balance and harmony in the body. Now, here are some ancient pictures that depict the tree of life in the center of our realm. As you can see, they have the water around it, the mountain, the tree of life, and the vortex, which leads you to other realms. As you can see in this picture, they have the whirlpool vortex, the tree of life in the center, and the continent is divided into 4 realms. And we get the same thing with this image. And these are pictures from cultures all around our realm. Not to mention, our bodies are synonymous with trees, which is just further proof that we are tied together within this realm. The placenta, our fingerprints, our veins. The law of correspondence states that whatever happens around us is a direct reflection of what is happening within us. That is one of the 12 universal laws. Y'all should study those because they're basically like the rule book to the Matrix. The universal laws are always working whether you are aware of them or not. So not understanding them puts you at a disadvantage in life. Don't be an NPC. Okay, class, back to the lesson. The Greeks referred to the North Pole as Hyperborea, as you can see here. Despite the location in what we now know is covered in ice, the Hyperboreans were believed to inhabit a sunny and divinely blessed land. On this 1570 map, Hyperborea is shown here as an Arctic continent and described as Terra Septentrionalis Incognito, which translates to unknown northern land. And as you can see, there is no ice. So we have these 2 words now, Hyperborea and Aurora Borealis. What do these 2 words have in common? The word bore. What does bore mean? Bore means to make a hole in something. A hole. Many people believe the entrance to inner Earth is located at the North Pole, and that's supposedly the hole Admiral Richard Byrd flew into on his expedition to the North Pole. I do not think the hole led to an inner Earth. The hole was a vortex that leads in and out of this realm. Remember how they called this mountain at the North Pole Rupes Nigra? Nigra meaning black, and the vortex was the hole. That's where you get the word black hole from. It sucks you into another realm. And Elon Musk has a boring company. Now, either he is trying to create another vortex outside of this realm, or he is trying to break the firmament in which we are enclosed. Now, if you look at this symbol, you're probably going to be like, what is this? But this is actually the symbol for the tree of life. Here's another picture so you can see it better. This symbol actually resembles crystals. Let me show you. Now, this is the Aurora Borealis crystal. Looks just like the tree of life. Not a coincidence. Many of the structures our ancestors had were made out of these crystals. And we can see that in Admiral Richard Byrd's diary when he says here, as we approach, the city seems to be made of a crystal material. These structures our ancestors built were able to harness the energy distributed from the tree of life and project it outwards to the people living around. Now, when Richard Byrd went through the vortex at the North Pole, I believe it took him here to Asgard. Asgardians were put there as guardians of our realm in Earth. When shit is about to pop off, they are the first to let us know. That's why if you read Richard Byrd's diary, they're giving him the drop about what's going to happen. Okay guys, so you remember how I said that we were energetic beings? Well, this realm is a giant power grid. Our Earth has its own magnetic field. Why do you think we have to charge crystals? They are very powerful, especially if you know how to tap into the energy within them. Even your aura, it is an electromagnetic field around you. Your thoughts, your words, everything, it's all energy. Why do you think you're able to manifest certain things to yourself? The law of attraction, which is another one of those 12 universal laws I told y'all to look into. But anyways, back to the lesson. At some point in time, the tree of life, along with other trees in our realm, were destroyed. And these trees were huge, you guys. Not like the normal trees you see out in your backyard. These were enormous trees that were destroyed. What you think are mountains are not mountains. They are the remains of the trees that got destroyed. Once the tree got destroyed, we became disconnected from source. Think about the Tower of Babel story. The tower got destroyed and all the people were separated, making them speak different languages so that they couldn't unite again to build anything like this. When all of our trees were destroyed, it released a lot of CO2 in the atmosphere, which heated our realm up. Our realm was no longer a Garden of Eden, no longer a tropical paradise. It was hot as shit. But where did all the ice come from? Now here's an article proving my point about the Arctic not always having ice. 55 million years ago, the Arctic was once a lot like Miami, with an average temperature of 74 degrees. And this was discovered by scientists. Now these same scientists say this, that a fern named Azolla started sucking up the carbon dioxide to help cool the Arctic back down. So essentially what they're saying is this fern right here, Azolla, is what caused the Arctic to freeze back over. But we know it was the Anunnaki and custodian technology. But let's just start with this Azolla fern. I looked up the meaning of Azolla in Latin and I got from the pot. And I was thinking, from the pot. From the pot. And then that's when it clicked, you guys. The pot is what the Anunnaki carried with them. Inside the pot is what they used to freeze over our realm. And if you look at this plant that they have over here, it looks a lot like the Azolla. Here's another look. And you see, at first I thought this was a pine cone. But when you look at a picture of an Azolla fern and the seed, it actually resembles the seed. Here are some more pictures of the Azolla seed. So essentially, the ice that we see today came from the pot, the seed of the Anunnaki's creation. And because of all this ice, the vortex at the North Pole was destroyed. But in part 2, I will be explaining to you guys how we can open back up that vortex.